Welcome to Without a Candle. We are your hosts,
Hey guys, I'm Carla.
and I'm Carly. Let's just jump on in, shall we?
Good morning, guys. So I'm here today with Beth Simpson, and we are recording without a candle. And it looks a little different today because there's just the two of us, right? And
Yeah.
typically there's me, someone, and Carly. But the outpour of people that are interested, whether it be a friend, a family member, a client, or a practitioner, there's a lot. There's a lot of you guys. We have a huge community, and it just got really tricky to schedule for Carly and I both to be here for each and every one, right? So we're going to divide and conquer, but you will still see us together when it's feasible, right? So, man, what a journey this has been. Like, what, and the way things have changed through the years. So, that's why I'm excited for you to share today because, and the viewers mostly know this too. I don't always remember things. And I came aware, overhearing other mediums talk about their practice and that kind of stuff. It's pretty common that things aren't remembered. So, it's not just me. I'm thankful for that. Um, but goodness, let's take it back. And maybe even before this, let's take it back to April 2023, 2022. What was in the text?
Oh,
It was over on Main Street, right?
okay.
That we met. So
No,
it was here.
it was here.
Okay.
It was here.
So then that had to be 2022. Carly's still here. Carly's in the background, like helping me with time and space. Oh, we moved November. Okay, so yes, then April
Okay.
would have been.
Now I'm remembering
Okay.
because I'm like you. I don't always remember.
We've got to put the pieces together.
Yes, there's puzzle pieces.
It's
and
like
they fall into place
when they're supposed
when
to,
they're supposed
apparently. Yeah.
But my journey
Yes.
with Carla
Yeah.
and all my friends here
Yeah.
started before I even met them. Actually, Carla was in the Main Street location, which actually was the funeral home that my family owned. And I worked and lived there at some point through the years. And I drove by after we closed that location and thought, what does that woman do in there? And I had no idea other than yoga. And I'd never yogaed before, so I didn't feel a need to go in. But I started to have some health issues with my knee to the point where the pain was excruciating and it was taking a toll on me physically, mentally, the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
And at that point, she had moved to her current location. And I thought, on a whim, I was driving by and I said, I'm going to go in. And I did. And it's been the best thing that I have ever done on a whim.
So then now I'm putting more pieces together. So then that would mean that we met in April 2023.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Carly helped pull those pieces together.
Yes.
The move was 2022 in November. So then April would have happened. Okay. Gotcha.
And I was actually came in because I had gone down a rabbit hole, which I go down a lot of rabbit holes.
We do.
Yeah, Carla and I, we do. And Reiki was something that just kept popping up. And I thought, Reiki, what in the world, So the more research I did, I found that even your big hospitals in bigger cities offer Reiki sessions to their employees as a health benefit. And I thought, well, there's got to be something to this then. So I made an appointment and I had my first Reiki session with Carla. And what was surprising in a good way, it didn't keep me from having to have a knee replacement, but it taught me and has taught me how to become grounded and how to work through emotions and all the things
Yeah.
that up until that point, if you know me personally, I'm a firecracker. I
Mm.
can lay it out. But in the few years that I have been working on myself, I guess that's a good way
Yeah.
to put it, I have learned to regulate my emotions and get myself into a place of calm. Um, I've learned so many things that who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought? We
Well, some things you can't even like fathom the thought of that because you don't yet know that those things are options. Like you may hear about people being calm and my favorite new word is unbothered by certain things,
exactly.
but until you experience it, you don't know what that means.
When you're in a state of fight or flight,
Yeah.
okay?
Mhm.
And I was in a state of fight or flight, and as I look back through my life and my profession, I'm retired now, but my profession, I was in a constant state of fight or flight,
Yeah.
survival mode,
Mhm.
just by nature of what I did for a living.
And not just for yourself,
No,
but
just
because of the service
it's
you
just the
offer
services
in the
that
funeral industry.
in the
Yeah.
funeral industry
Like you were always on call. We talked about that recently.
yes, I
Yeah.
mean, you have a 24/7, you're online basically. Imagine being online 24/7, and
Yeah.
when that phone rings,
Mhm.
you have to be on your game,
Yeah.
and not only on your game, but accurate,
And
and
with the information and that
and
kind of stuff.
you have to
And
be on point.
some pieces of that you held on to until this year.
Yes,
Like, with even moving your phone outside the bedroom. Like
yes,
that was a this year thing, but that was tied to your work,
yes,
right? Yeah.
yes. Uh, the the fight or flight mode, I don't think
Mhm.
people sometimes realize that they stay in that
Absolutely.
energy,
Yeah.
and it causes a lot of anxiety that you're
Mhm.
like, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Why did I just snap at my husband or my friend or
And it
just
wasn't that they did anything,
no,
right? Yeah.
or even driving down the road in the
Well, some
car.
of those things become a habit,
They do,
right?
they
Yeah.
do, and that's the other thing that I have grown in
Mhm.
is awareness.
Yeah.
I was not always aware that I was as sharp
Mhm.
as I came off until after the fact.
Yeah. Self-reflection.
And I've learned to think before I speak because words matter
Okay. Words have power.
and words have energy.
Mhm.
And I think one of the biggest personal growth aspects of my journey here
Mhm.
is the energy that I do have and that I put out matters.
Yes,
And in the
absolutely.
and the way that I put that energy out matters.
And so for those listening at home, they may think that you just mean physical energy,
No,
right? But it's
no,
deeper than that, yes?
it's deeper than
Yeah.
that. I think the people who are closest to me on an everyday
Mhm.
basis have probably noticed a shift in the way that I react.
Yeah.
Now, if you see me at Walmart, I'm I'm not a mean person, so I'm not
Mhm.
walking around like a Grinch and you know
Right.
I'm cordial to most people that I meet if I know
Mhm.
them, and I'm cordial to the ones I don't. I'm a
Right.
talker, I'll talk to the wall. Doesn't
But
matter.
so I'm hearing that the shift on because some of the way we respond is because other people allow us to, right? But at some point we realize just because they let us react this way doesn't mean it's okay to
Exactly.
react that way,
Exactly.
right? So the energy that you have chosen to now radiate is just different.
It's coming from a place of acceptance
Mm-hmm.
that I can't own someone else's shit.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. That it's
I
none of
can
your
only
business.
it's none of my business.
Yeah.
And I'm responsible for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be accountable to me.
Yeah.
Before I am to anybody else.
Absolutely.
That growth has been tremendous.
And even going, into those self-commitments, right?
Yes.
The making, some of those habit changes
Yes.
and having more commitment to yourself, right? And not letting yourself get distracted by others' life situations, right?
And it's we're talking and it sounds like, well, that's an easy little
Yeah.
puddle to jump.
Yeah.
It's really not. When you've spent your lifetime being the way that when you spend your lifetime immediately reacting
Mm-hmm.
without thought first,
Mm-hmm.
that's a hard thing to
To
change.
change. Yeah.
And it does require work. And you have to really look at yourself and say, hey, I've been a shitty person sometimes.
Yeah.
And you really
So
have to own it.
imagine, yeah, I get that, right? And sometimes it takes a community, right? Like I still need the girls to put me in check. Like, hey, you need to think about how you just said that, right?
There's been times I'm a regular because this space that we're in, when you come in, truly is very calm. It's very grounded and very welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you are. I don't care what your purpose is for walking through the door. The minute that I walked through the door the first time, I was at ease.
Yeah. Thank you.
And that means a lot for somebody who has no idea what you do here.
Yeah.
It means
Well, there's a lot of
means
people
a
that
shit
think they
ton.
know what we do, but they are miseducated.
Well,
Yeah.
another growth aspect of anybody's journey
Mm-hmm.
is learning not to judge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not even in here, and not here.
It's
Like
just,
it's not enough not to just say the shitty things, but really the growth happens when it's no longer a thought or a feeling, right?
exactly.
Like it's not enough just not to say shitty things out loud.
Yeah.
You've got to grow into not thinking it and not feeling it as well. So,
but
it's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I went
it's
down
a
the
lot.
rabbit hole
Well,
there.
we did. It's okay. We strayed off.
But no, I was going back to how we interact
Mhm.
as friends, and we are friends. I consider Carla
Absolutely, yeah.
one of my peeps.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of meant to be.
Mhm.
But Carla doesn't mind telling me, don't say that way. Delete.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm sure you've reminded me of hey, there's better verbiage to use too,
well,
right?
and we take no offense at that because our relationship is based on, I think, unconditional love.
Absolutely. And then reminding people you're not wrong. Absolutely. There is a different level of unconditional love when you share space and conversation the way we do, right?
There is.
I forgot what I was going to say for a moment.
But you said there are people.
I don't know.
I think I know where you were going.
Okay.
There are people who prejudge.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's face it. I've done it. We've all done it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you say, I don't judge people, you're not telling yourself the truth.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
I never prejudged coming in here. I just never knew that I needed to.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I needed to.
Right.
But the day that I knew I needed to,
It was
I
just
did.
like a magnetic
It was
kind of
like,
pull,
hey,
and there was no getting out of it, right?
no.
So let's rewind a little bit to your first maybe year-ish of Reiki sessions. They were, and I know that you had a lot of stuff come to you in those
Oh, yeah.
sessions, but sometimes it was a challenge to shut it off, right? And
Well,
then,
yes, it was.
yeah, and then, I have grown since then too,
We
right?
both have.
So
And
initially, it was probably a lot of very basic, like basic-ish, like ISH, basic-ish sessions based on, a lot of the physical, right, and
the
basic stress.
first couple of sessions were very, what I would call textbook
Hmm.
in regard to somebody who had never had a Reiki session.
Right.
I never felt uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Let's put that out there right in the front.
Right.
Never felt uncomfortable, forced, anything.
Hmm.
But we would start, and you would ask me, are there any areas of concern?
Hmm.
Do you have any areas of concern? Well, obviously I did. My knee was about ready to.
Yeah, it was not fun.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was terrible. And I came in here for the first Reiki session praying for physical relief
Hmm.
of some type, which oddly enough, the physical release was not grand
Hmm.
because I had too much damage. But the grounding effect and the ability to sit with myself, calm myself, helped alleviate the tension
Yeah.
that I was having with mobility and just the mindset that I'm 55 years old and I'm going to have a knee replacement.
Yeah.
So it helped me through those, and anybody that's had any kind of major surgery,
Hmm.
you know what you go through mentally. It's like,
Can I do this
yeah,
sometimes,
and
right?
my body's falling apart.
Yeah.
What's wrong with
A
me?
lot of the self-talk. Yeah.
And it helped me. It helped me release tension in that respect.
Hmm.
Uh, Now, if Carla could have put me a new knee in, I'd have let her do it. I was
And
at
so,
that point in pain, but
and it's odd now because you say that like half jokingly,
yeah,
but now this year, since I've started studying a little bit more of psychic release, I also know that there's a psychic surgery, right?
yeah,
And that blows my mind still. Not really, and that's another conversation anyway. We'll come back to that. So,
deeper into my Reiki
yes.
sessions, those have become interesting.
Do you remember the first shift? Do you remember the first shift into realizing that this wasn't just
Hocus pocus.
physical, and it just wasn't mental? Do you remember your first experience with the spiritual side of things? And do you want to share?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think the first side of the spiritual. Do you remember?
I don't,
Um,
because I'm not supposed to. I don't think.
I, I, yes. Oh,
Okay.
I do. I remember it, and it was, well, actually, probably the first session.
Okay.
Only I didn't realize that it was actually a spiritual.
Because that concept hadn't been planted
No,
yet.
I had not done enough work on myself to
Mhm.
know. I was actually kind of, what the,
Yeah.
it was
Kind of.
a kind of what the fuck moment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
pardon the French, but
No, I
hey,
don't care. Yeah.
but there's always a discussion after Carla closes the Reiki session, and you have dialogue of, you know between Carla and yourself,
The experiences.
the
Yeah.
experiences, and what did you feel, the whole thing.
Right.
Shouldn't leave anything out. And it was odd to me. She said, "Who's Kelly?" And I said,
And I don't remember who Kelly is.
Well, I was just kind of in awe because I have a very dear friend named Kelly,
Uh-huh.
and you would have not known that because you didn't know any of
Okay.
my friend connections
Gotcha.
when you did a Reiki session
Okay.
with me, and you would have had no clue how
Yeah.
or
So
why
is
to
Kelly
ask me.
still here?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so Kelly's
Kelly's
still
a
alive, but maybe she was on your mind or on your heart, or maybe she
there
had
was a,
needed.
and I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I had not ever mentioned that because we hadn't had that much interaction
Right.
personally
Yeah. And
prior
then
to.
early on, we don't have that much
No,
conversation
no,
because, and I'm shifting some of how I feel about this, and now it's case by case. But part of this practice and part of my growth is not knowing much before session. So what comes through in a session
is
as like kind of that guidance or that mediumship kind of side of my practice,
and
it's confirmed after we talk,
exactly.
right? Instead of me having knowledge before going in. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense to me because I've experienced that whole process
Yeah.
from the newbie that
Mhm.
didn't know squat and came in here and had the confidence to lay down on your Reiki table
And the trust,
and
like
trust.
that just hit me differently.
Yeah,
Is that you didn't know a darn thing,
I did. Well,
but
you know, I didn't. I was a lost ball in high weeds
you knew
that I
that
needed it.
through feelings, not only you needed it, but you could trust the space,
Yes,
and that you could trust the process with me.
yes.
Yeah.
I would bring and recommend to anybody that I know, and I have,
Hmm.
don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good. And I'm as honest as and blunt as they come.
Hmm.
If it's something I think needs to be said, I say it.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. We all need people in our circle like that. Yeah.
If I thought that Carla was down here with smoke and mirrors, uh, trying to hustle people
Yeah.
for a nickel, I would not be sitting in this chair.
Yeah.
That's not what goes on here. Um,
And it's hard to explain what does go on here.
it,
So
it's a. I don't want to bring religion into anything.
right.
It's not religion. It is self-awareness
Hmm.
and your connection to your higher beliefs.
Yeah.
And
And that's none of my business. And we don't push that.
I've learned through, again, my work through my lifetime.
Mhm.
I've had the privilege, and it is a privilege,
Mhm.
to experience many different forms of belief systems.
Yeah.
And I respect all of them,
Hmm.
all of them, because ultimately it all goes back to the same source.
Yeah.
And however you get there,
Hmm.
as long as you get there.
Right. As long as there's something more.
And that's we've gone down another rabbit hole here,
Mhm.
but that's part of what, if you allow yourself to open to different thought processes and not be closed into a box. And this is the only way that I can do this and do that and be
And we haven't
more.
had, so I think what you're getting at is
I'm kind of,
that evolution of ascension, right?
yes,
And then, what that means to individuals, right?
exactly. And even in your today's church structures,
Hmm.
it's not called ascension,
Right.
but there are steps
Hmm.
when you go into a church as a child.
Yeah.
There are steps within every religion that you
Tony
attain
Robbins.
a higher step in your belief system.
Right. So Tony Robbins this morning, I'm always listening to something. I'm
Oh
always
yeah,
sharing the
oh
things
yeah.
I'm listening to. But this morning, I've always had, the concept of seasons of life, but he broke it down a little bit different. So it was kind of nice to hear, but it's still the same concept in the church and in that growth. There are seasons, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of cool. Are you ready for a tough question?
I'm always ready
Okay.
for a tough
I
question.
know. It's those, but those reflection moments allow more growth. Looking back, and I want you to take a couple breaths and really think about this before you just, share. Thinking back, what was the toughest, most uncomfortable part of your growth as far as this is concerned?
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna give it
and we can even come back to that.
no.
Like you can let it marinate.
Trust me, I've
Hmm.
marinated my whole 58 years and
Yeah.
3 years here.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's I think my toughest, most difficult part for me was letting go of resentments that I had, and I want to put parenthesis around that, had
Yeah.
around certain people who were close to me.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I did not work on myself
Hmm.
and be able to be in a heart-centered place, and that's the best way to put it,
Okay.
is be centered and understand that you cannot control other people's shit.
Yeah.
You can't fix other people's shit.
Right.
And the shit that other people inflict on you, you have to learn to forgive.
Process it on some level.
And
Yeah.
forgiving doesn't mean forgetting,
Right.
okay? And you have to learn that you can feel the emotions.
Hmm.
You have to feel the
Hmm.
emotions. You can't block the emotions. You have to
Feel
feel them.
feel it to kill it was a yoga thing.
And I've never even done yoga,
Yeah.
but you have to process, feel those emotions, and be at a level consciously with yourself that you can forgive.
Hmm.
Okay?
So, and forgiveness isn't for the other person.
No, you have to do it for
Forgiveness is for
yourself.
you. Yeah.
And that, because you're not growing
Hmm.
the other person,
Yeah.
okay? There's no way at all that you can grow me,
Right.
okay?
And I just had a visual. So, and the visual was of a plugging of a hole in a pool, right? So when you have those emotions of anger and resentments, like you're just leaking, right?
Yeah.
And then so you come back and you kind of forgive and you kind of patch a hole.
But then another one will spring out
And then
because
it's a practice, right?
it
And then
is.
you
It's
just
like
keep
a little
patching.
Dutch boy sticking his finger
Yeah.
in the dam, you know?
Yeah.
You because you come in contact with so many
Hmm.
people in your lifetime, and you don't hold resentments to everybody, but the
Right.
people who are closest to you,
Hmm.
and I'm sure people who are close to me hold resentments against
Yeah.
me over things that I've said. I'm not saying that I've been this earth angel that has
Right.
never pissed in somebody's Wheaties, okay?
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for that.
Right.
You know,
And that sits differently now too. Like
it does.
saying I'm sorry and apologizing, it no longer is just a knee-jerk go-to
No,
reaction. Like
no,
that is now a heartfelt
absolutely.
phrase.
And to add to that, part of the growth process
Hmm.
is to think before you
Yeah. So
say.
you don't
So
have to
you
say
don't
I'm
have to
sorry.
apologize as much
Yeah.
if you're coming from a place of conscious thought.
Hmm.
And again, you asked the hard question.
Hmm.
What was the hardest thing for me to let go
Yeah.
of? And it was hurts and resentments that I have held for many, many years. And I'm good now. I, you know, everybody has shit. Okay. No life on this earth is a cakewalk. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from, what lifestyle you live. Everybody has shit.
We always have stuff. Have you heard my little red wagon analogy?
I think I have, but remind me.
That we all have like a little red wagon full of like the not so great events, the traumas, the baggage, right? And some of those turds, you know, some of those situations we put in there. But some of that stuff in our little red wagon was put in there before we were even put here, right? So the things that our grandparents went through means also the things that our parents went through.
Exactly.
We still experience that.
It's
you know, like we still it's crazy, right? Because there's always little pieces of that pre-programmed.
The way our family dynamic, you know, when I say it's generational, everybody knows, well, this is the way my grandmother did it. My great grandmother did it this way, and I'm doing it this way. You know, I've done that.
And even not just in ways, but in behaviors.
Exactly.
Right? Like we can go back and say, my great grandmother had a short fuse, and I guess I just have that short fuse too.
I have
but
always,
that's a self-inflicted curse,
yes,
right? And
if you say there's a good, that's a good point, because I've often been associated, as far as personality wise, with one of my great aunts. You acting just like so and so. And I'll, again, no names. She's no longer with us, but it doesn't matter. I loved her. She was a hoot. But I probably, from being around her as a child, may have
some of those like the characteristics and personality traits,
you know. But I was always told I was hateful, and I was, you know, you're just like,
and those are curses.
So that stays with you in your subconscious, that you're hateful and you're this and you're that, and when you're not. I mean,
in perspective, like, so we knew this was going to happen, but I feel like it's all connected. People's perspective of you, you don't have to own that either.
No, but as a child,
absolutely, you don't know any better. You don't know.
Told, well, you act just like so and so,
and then you hear that they're hateful, or whatever.
And so one of the other growth things that I have been fortunate enough to grow into is the fact that I wasn't always hateful. I was blunt. And I'm still blunt. But I was misunderstood. And that's a big thing. And it goes back to just human interaction and getting yourself centered. I mean, it's all comes
the awareness,
circle.
right? And then the concept too, is if to know your audience, right? So you can tell two people to get their head out of their ass two different ways, right? So someone in their life, you know, like with the kids, like I do have, you know, a child, I'm like, get your shit together, get your head out of your ass, like let's do this thing, right? And then the other one, depending on the day, you know, it's more like, okay, so maybe we should think about this, right? Like maybe let's just, you know, step back and look at it from a different perspective, right? But they're still the same messages, you know? So going back to knowing your audience, and that has been something that I have continued to share about knowing your audience. A couple points. People don't know what they don't know. And, you know, before I could look back, and at one point I would say, even, you know, people that didn't believe the same things, and I would say that they're stupid, and then I evolved into saying, well, they're just uneducated, right? Like
Yeah.
they're choosing not to. But I believe, honestly, it goes even deeper than that. Some people, and not because of any of those other character traits, they truly cannot fathom, they truly cannot understand some of the concepts around all the things that you may experience here. They just can't
No.
wrap their head around it.
And it's a lot to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
But I think everybody comes to a point in their life at some time where it's one of your catchphrases, shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can marinate in fight or flight, in misery, in anxiety, and all the things. You can go to the doctor and say, I need a pill for, I've got anxiety. I need a pill. I need something to get me off the wall. I need this. I need that.
And they'll usually give it to you.
And they'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They'll give it to you because that's a whole nother
Yeah,
podcast. But
it is.
I think realizing that you have the ability to heal yourself emotionally.
It changes things, right?
It does. You look at things standing outside the box that you kept yourself in. And
well, I think in some concepts they don't know either, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe sometimes they don't want you to know because if you can take care of yourself, then you don't need them, right?
Well, and I'm a hardhead.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
stubborn.
didn't notice.
Yeah, I think you didn't know that about me. But I have to learn things the hard way. Okay.
Yeah.
So it took me 55 years to learn that I had the ability within myself and the proper guidance, which I've had from a heart-centered space, that I can work on some things myself.
Yeah.
And I have worked on some things myself.
And if we're doing things the way I think to the highest good, the best good, to truly be beneficial, means that you're not a client forever. At some point, you can take care of yourself. We're always here.
Oh, yeah.
But at some point, you can
You're
take
not
care of
getting
yourself.
rid of me. What are you talking about? I'm here. I'm a lifer.
And you know what? So that we'll get to that too, right? And what that means, that maybe you haven't even sat with yet, right? So moving forward into our last 6 months of work, do you want to share some of that shift, not just within you, but what you have seen within me by allowing me to continue to practice?
Well, this is where it's gonna kind of.
And you don't have to share.
No,
We
I'm
mentioned
open.
that you share only what you're comfortable sharing.
I'm an open book.
Yeah.
I really am. And I think people who know me, again, know that I, just you just never know what's gonna come out here. That's just how I roll. I think this session, well, Reiki session, where it was just going to be a straight Reiki session. Okay, just straight plain Reiki session.
Physical need.
I hadn't had one for a while.
Clearing.
I just needed I needed the calm. I have a hard time getting into a meditative state because I've always got tabs open. Okay.
Right.
And that's something Carla knows because she's always got tabs open, so she can relate. But it was time. It was time to come in and just have some Carla Reiki time. Well, there was other things on the agenda that were beyond Carla and I could control.
Right.
Because evidently, what are we going to talk about? Rhubarb pie?
A little bit of everything. But I think you had 3 different,
I did. I
yeah,
had 3, and this I think is where people kind of go, oh, okay,
maybe that's not the thing for
this
me.
might not be the thing for me.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, folks,
But you needed it.
I needed
Yeah.
it. I've always believed. Let me tell you what I've always believed. I've never believed that when you draw your last breath, that's the end of you. It's not. If I thought that, I would have never been able to do the work that I did.
Right.
Okay? I would have been a very bitter, angry person for all of the tragedy that I have worked with people through.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of had a come to Jesus meeting early in my career. It was a tragic situation, and I was emotionally sick at that moment. And I don't tell this a lot, and I'll tell it in the private setting, but
yeah.
and I won't go into the details of what went on.
Yeah.
But it was late at night. A tragedy had occurred. I was working with my dad, and I emotionally became ill. And when I say emotionally, the emotion made me physically ill.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't been doing. Even though I'd grown up in the funeral home, literally,
Mm-hmm.
I had not worked actively that long.
Right.
So I went out into the visitation room, and it was after midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a what you want to call come to Jesus meeting. And I said, God, am I supposed to be here?
Mm-hmm.
Because what I'm experiencing, if this is all there is to life, I don't know that I need to do this for a living.
Yeah.
And I said, if I'm supposed to do this work, give me the strength to get my ass up off this couch and do what I need to do and help the people that I need to
Right.
help.
And in those situations, it's closure for the family. It's a
And,
wrapping up of things for the family, the best that they can.
well, yeah. But in that
Mhm.
moment, I felt a strength come
Mhm.
through me. Basically, get up, get to it,
Yeah.
and get it done.
Right.
And I knew then there was more. There was more to the here and the
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
That is not the final place. That's not your final stop,
Right.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
That person that was
No longer in the
with us that
physical
night,
body. Yeah.
they were still present in another place,
Mm-hmm.
in a better place.
And
And
that's probably also a completely
that's
another
a whole other
podcast.
podcast.
Yeah.
We can go down all kinds of rabbit holes. But this brings back to my Reiki session.
Mm-hmm.
One of the last, most
Several
recent,
recently.
most
Yeah.
recent. I had actually, I think, it was funny. It was actually kind of funny.
Yeah, no, it was after. Yeah,
After
putting
the
the
fact,
pieces together
when we
was
put the pieces together,
fun. Yeah.
I have none of my grandparents are still with me. I had a very close relationship to two of my grandparents. The other two grandparents, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I was expecting Carla to start the Reiki session, and she's like, "Who's granddad?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "My papa." She said, "No, no, 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 granddad." I said, "Ralph?" And she said, "I don't know, granddad." I said, "Granddaddy?"
Mm-hmm.
And then it hit me. My paternal grandfather insisted that we grandchildren call him granddad, granddaddy. Well, me being the stubborn child that I was and didn't have the best relationship with him, he didn't really have a good relationship with any of us.
Right.
And I had always held resentment there. And
Right.
but anyway,
And I think
that's
some
a
of that was a viewpoint,
yes,
right?
yes.
Because you did share later that he was a very private,
He
but very deep individual.
my granddaddy, and I will call him that now because we've made amends.
Come to terms,
We've
yeah.
come to terms. My granddaddy was very intelligent, very deep is a good word.
Yeah.
And as I look back on some of his oddities, his behavior, he could have been on the spectrum,
Right.
but very high functioning, very
Yeah.
intelligent, almost savant like. And that explains a lot in regard to the way he interacted to his children, his grandchildren.
The way he was capable of
Yes, I
interacting.
mean
Yeah.
and that goes back to, you know, you can't judge somebody,
Right.
but as a child, the connection just wasn't there.
Right.
Okay. And
So,
then back to your ancestor,
yeah.
the turds in the wagon.
Yeah.
Okay. There were a lot of turds in that wagon.
Yeah.
Okay. That I never experienced, but they got drugged through
The generations.
the generations.
Yeah.
So
So when he came through, it wasn't just a name to kind of anchor that that's truly who was coming through for you.
he had a
There was a
message.
visual, right?
He had the visual was
Yeah.
with my papa.
Oh, okay.
But my granddaddy had a message. My granddaddy had a
Yeah.
message.
I do remember.
And he and I did not always really communicate. But there was an occasion when I was at their home for a weekend, and we were outside, and there was an aunt, and I was 9, 10. I'm old now, so I lose track of the age
Yeah.
thing, but young enough to be guided and say, "Do you see that ant crawling on the ground?" And I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Oh, I don't. I want to tell you something." And he said, "Sometimes your first reaction will be stomp that ant as a child." And he said, "I want you to realize something, that ant has purpose and it has a life, and that life matters." And up until that session, I had buried that. And because why, would I want to relive spending a weekend with, as I called him, Ralph?
Yeah.
Okay. But the granddaddy that I think he truly wanted to be to all of us did come to me during that session.
Yeah.
And that awareness of that life lesson came back to me. But what is really fascinating, that life lesson stayed with me from that point that he actually
You
did
probably
so.
never squished an ant in your
I
life.
never,
Yeah.
no. I have a great respect for all things living. I don't care if it's a tree. I don't care what it is. It has purpose. It has a reason.
Right.
Okay.
And that just sits differently now.
It does sit differently now. But that was one of those, after the session was over, and I gave Carla more insight that kind of validated for her, hey, neither one of us are crazy, because
Well, that's to still be determined. Yeah.
well, yeah,
On a different level, right?
yeah, we get off in the ditch every once in a while, but
the vision that I remembered with the puzzle and the dirt, that was your papa.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
And that relationship was different.
that
And
my
so that
papa,
message was different.
my papa was my protector.
Yeah.
He was my protector. He was a quiet protector.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was the one that we would go after it rained at night
Mm-hmm.
and get us a bucket and go out in the yard and dig for night crawlers.
Okay.
He was my kind of teacher.
Yeah.
This is what we do, Shug.
Yeah.
I was Shug.
Right.
This is what we do, Shug. We're gonna go out here and we're gonna catch us some night crawlers and then we're gonna go night fishing.
Yeah.
He's the one that we would be outside at night and I'd hear him chirping like a whippoorwill.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking to the birds.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always loved from a child to sit and just listen to the birds. Reminds me of him.
Right.
But this visual that I had during the Reiki session, we lived in Louisville, but there was a big park forest type place that we were close to. We weren't in urban area of Louisville. And I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a stream and it was all the tall trees. There was nothing you can see houses. It was just nature.
Right.
And we'd stopped and it was kind of a weird stream that did a circular thing. It's kind of cloudy to me now but I can still see I'm still in that space with him. But I went back to that space with him and him with the stick and he said I think it was a chewing gum wrapper.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I want to show you something. And this was during the Reiki session that I was reliving this moment. And he put the chewing gum wrapper in and he said, now you just wait just a minute. And I came back around.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, Papa, that was,
That's a cool trick.
that was a cool trick. But he taught me the appreciation for nature and the simple things and unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
Unconditional love.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything that I had to do to
that Christ conscious kind of unconditional love.
Yes.
There's no exceptions, there's no strings, there's
no. There was none.
And I'm sure I don't want to take you off path, but I'm sure people are kind of taken back when I talk about Christ consciousness, right? Because of some preconceived thoughts out there. So I'm not paying attention to time really, like I can't see the time on that, but I'm sure we're getting kind of close.
Well,
but I
Carla and I
can
can wrangle from
Oh,
that.
absolutely. But there's more. There's 2 more pieces. There's the rest of this session and the next session that I want you to share. And then I want to ask you, why do you feel you needed those pieces in those moments of that last 2 sessions? Because after that, you made another big jump. So I want to mention all that. Like that should kind of keep us on track for a few minutes. But the last person that came through in that Reiki session was a you can't make that shit up moment. And it's something I almost didn't mention because it was so fucking odd, right? Okay.
Okay.
So,
the Reiki session where Granddaddy came through. It was you said, why? What is it with pies?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I make pies.
Yeah.
I mean, I make pies for my dad.
Right.
I've got a specialty pie I make for him.
Yeah.
She said, no. Rhubarb.
Yeah.
Rhubarb. I said,
that doesn't make sense.
And I said, oh, Mama's here.
Yeah.
And that was my words. I said, Mama's here.
Yeah.
And you're like, what does your mama have to do with rhubarb pie?
My human self,
Was going, okay, this is going in the ditch.
Yeah, right.
But I, I, I said, because at this point we weren't having a Reiki session. We were having.
It was full on mediumship.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first time that had happened with us.
Right.
Okay.
To that level.
To that level.
Because before it was just nuggets.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But this was full on. My peeps were coming in, and they were coming in hard and fast. And I said, my mama's here, and she loved rhubarb, but never made herself a rhubarb pie because nobody else would eat it.
Yeah.
And if you knew my mama, she was an absolute, the best cook that you would have ever eaten after. Okay.
Yeah.
Self-taught, phenomenal, and pretty much every aspect of her life. She was probably educated until about the 8th grade.
Okay, which is pretty common.
Which is pretty common for
grade
that
school.
that time frame. But she was self-taught and self-made and very successful. If she decided that she was going to do something, she would master it. I don't care what it was.
Right.
That was
figure that shit out. Yeah.
She was a pull yourself up by the bootstraps and remember where you came from kind of woman.
Yeah.
And she was my person from birth.
So what did you do with that information?
Well, I ordered 2 cans of rhubarb off Amazon.
Yeah, because you couldn't find it locally.
I went to Walmart and I'm like, Carla, it ain't rhubarb season.
Right. Like, this is commonplace.
Because, well, Carla says, well, I hate to tell you this, but this was right before Christmas. You're going to make a rhubarb pie for Christmas.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'll get it done. So I went home and I sat with it for a minute and I'm like, a rhubarb pie. And I thought, well, what the hell? I haven't had a rhubarb pie because Mama never made one.
Yeah.
So I legit, I can pull up my Amazon list right now. I ordered 2 cans of rhubarb and got it home, put it in the pantry, let it sit for a minute.
Yeah.
Hot minute.
You were still thinking about it.
I was still thinking about it.
Was having the stuff enough? And the answer was no. You ended up making the pie.
I, on a Saturday morning, got up, said, I'm making me a damn rhubarb pie. Well, guess what? I like rhubarb pie too.
You do. And other people in the household didn't mind it.
Well,
yeah.
I put the pie out on the counter, and my husband, John, who likes to, at night, grab a sweet.
Yeah.
I said, I've got a rhubarb pie in there on the counter. He said, a rhubarb pie? I said, don't knock it till you try it, okay? Yeah. So he went in there and he got him a spoon and he said, well, that tastes like blueberries.
Yeah.
Well, okay, John, it's not, but
he enjoyed.
He enjoyed the pie. Enjoyed the pie enough that after 2 days I pitched the pie because I just don't eat that much sweets. Yeah. But he came, he says, what'd you do with that pie?
Right.
So rhubarb pie is on the rotation now.
Yeah, good. So
we're getting time checked.
Yeah, it's okay. But there's one more.
There is one more.
And so I want to add really quick.
Okay.
Like you have been actively working with these messages and these guides.
Yes.
Since it started dropping these nuggets, right?
It's hit home in the last 2 months like a freight train.
But the last session.
Carla said,
I don't even think I got time to completely clear the room.
Oh no. You said, who's Petey? Pete. I said, Carla, Mama's here. And she said, what? I said, my Mama, Queen Bee, Mama, her given name was Lagatha, which nobody could pronounce, nobody could spell.
Mm-hmm.
And she owned a trucking company, and the truck drivers never could say Lagatha.
Right.
So they all nicknamed her Pete.
Yeah.
And long story short, everybody that knew her personally called her Pete.
Yeah.
And that's when Pete decided to let Carla into our life, basically,
Yeah.
because she was loud and proud that day.
Mm-hmm.
She
Yeah.
was loud and proud.
Instantly.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it was like
And then so you learned that day too
that.
that she was the mouthpiece. That
Yes,
she was the
she
front
she
person.
is the person who, in my peeps on the next level, she's the one that's in charge of what's communicated to me and in which way it is.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are going, okay, now Beth's lost all the marbles that she had,
Yeah.
you're wrong.
Yeah.
Because I can't make this shit
And
up.
there's no way, one, that I would have known that.
No.
Nor would I have known that to be the same person.
No.
Right? Those
No.
kind of things.
It was actually, I think even for you, it was like an aha, like,
Yeah.
oh
Like,
my.
this is happening today. Kind
Because
of thing.
it was, the Reiki session was so mixed.
Yeah.
It was a medium Reiki session.
And at some point it becomes not Reiki anymore. Like there's
No.
still healing, there's still energy.
That was very healing.
Absolutely.
It's like it went to the next level,
Mhm.
okay? And that's where I'm gonna go with my final little. We'll close this out after this because for me, sometimes Carla has to say, "It's time for you to do this," okay? Because Carla does never push anything, nothing, unless she is spot on, knows it's time to give that push. And for those of you who are not familiar with Reiki, you can perform Reiki on yourself.
Mhm.
And Carla knew that it was time for me to be able to utilize that tool.
Mhm.
And she said, I really feel like you need to have your
Doing attunement. Yeah.
And I said, okay, I still, I'm lost on high weeds, but I trust you and let's go for it.
Right.
Okay.
And so how has that changed? So you got your level 1 Reiki attunement, you're attending your first Reiki class.
Yes, I am.
But how has that changed your self healing journey?
I'm able to sit with myself in stillness now. Okay. Before that was, I was getting there. Okay. I was getting there. It's becoming easier for me. But I think the one thing during the attunement that kind of took you a little bit sideways, and she don't get sideways about nothing. And she wasn't sideways. I don't mean it in that form, but I think it was kind of a aha moment there too. Charla. Now I've got word salad going on. Is very focused. During the attunement, and it's a very, you have to be very, very grounded, very in the space, in the moment. Okay. And Carla said there was somebody to my.
Right. So to elaborate,
I'll let you explain that because I was not the one that experienced that.
So before I start, there's a little bit of piece that I do. And typically my body and my hands, this thing's on my nose, sorry guys. My hands align with the person in front of me, right?
Yeah.
But when I opened my eyes to continue your attunement, I was slightly shifted and I was aligned with someone off to your right side. And you had shared, I think it was just yesterday, you had shared that before you used to hear messages and downloads and information on your left, but now it's on your right. So there's definitely energy there, and you kind of know where that's coming from. And so that's confirmation to you
Yeah.
that just because you don't hear it over here and you hear it over here now,
Yeah.
that it's still there, right?
Yes.
And so, and that's something that we share and teach. And I know I've sent you a shit ton of stuff to like listen to and read as I find stuff too. But Julia Cannon's Soul Speak,
Yes.
if you don't have that on Audible already, I do recommend that one. And The Seed of the Soul.
Yes,
So,
that was recommended to me before
yes.
these last two.
hmm Yeah, those are two of my favorites.
Yeah.
But with the amount of stuff I send you, you could probably walk around with your headphones on 24/7 and never be finished. And oddly enough, at home, I do walk around my headphones on a lot, just continuing to listen, right?
Yeah.
So,
But and something I probably needs to clarify.
mhm,
When you said you hear things in this ear,
mhm,
it's not that I hear anything. The frequency, I've always had what you would call tinnitus
right.
that never stops
Mhm,
in my head. A lot of people do.
mhm,
Mine is continuous. Like I have to turn a fan on at night to be able to kind of block that out.
right.
But I will get real high pitched zingers.
Mhm.
And I'm like, whoa, what's that? And I didn't know what it was.
And we talked about
We talked,
stopping
and
and saying, "Hey, I'm listening,"
yeah,
that kind of stuff.
but they were always in this ear. It was always, and I could feel an energy of some type when that frequency
Would change.
would change.
Yeah.
And now it's down this side,
Mhm.
and through what you just can't make this shit up.
Yeah, there's a whole lot you can make that shit up over here.
And
So, but I mean, that covers a good portion of your journey and however long that took us to walk through it. And it's a good snapshot, right?
well,
And
I think it I think this podcast can maybe, for the people who are straddling the fence
Mhm.
and wondering what in the hell goes on in that little shop on Pike Street.
Yeah.
You know me.
Mhm.
I've never been a trickster. I've never
Yeah.
been somebody that's gone out here and done,
Mhm.
well, I wouldn't say I haven't done crazy stuff because, well, I'm
Yeah.
me.
Right.
But I've always been pretty stable,
Mhm. Yeah.
mentally. And
Mhm.
there is value in the services that are offered here.
Mhm.
And if you have an inkling
Mhm.
that you want to explore that different perspective
Mhm.
from what you have every day, come in.
Like
It's
you're only
life
cutting
changing.
yourself short if you don't, right?
Well,
And if it doesn't fit now, like if you come in tomorrow and it still just doesn't feel okay, then that's okay.
and it may
You,
not be for everybody.
I
Okay,
mean, people return after years of their first time in here. Like they came in for the first time, they haven't been
exactly.
here for years, and now they cycle back through. And sometimes that happens. That we're talking about random shit now. That way, if Carly comes back, she
Well,
can just cut us off.
the way I look at it,
Mhm.
okay, everybody
Mhm.
it's kind of, we're circling back to where we started.
Yeah.
Everybody's journey is different.
Mhm. For sure.
But if you open your mind to new things,
Right.
you can experience
Mhm.
growth.
Yeah.
But if you walk through life with a closed mindset and you're not open to different ways of
Right.
receiving information,
Mhm.
and again, even on a religious standpoint, if you're just closed into your own, I was raised in the Baptist church.
Mhm.
Well, there are still concepts of the Baptist church that I don't disagree with
Yeah.
at all.
Well, and then,
And again, like I say, if you don't allow yourself to open up,
mhm.
how will you ever know?
So, and I also believe that you needed that period of growth. Like if your first session, you came in here and Papa and
If they all
Grandpa,
came into the room at the
and
same time,
you would not probably not have come back, right? Like you would
well,
go,
I have to give a little
yeah.
tidbit. I had a very dear, very dear to my heart great aunt
Mhm.
who passed away tragically.
Mhm.
Um, she was never married. She was, if there was a saint walking this earth, it was her.
Mhm.
And I was very close to her.
Mhm.
And she'd passed away before I had my first child.
Yeah.
And I was having a very hard time with her death, extremely hard, accepting the fact that she died the way in which she did.
Yeah.
And it was just hard. So I had my daughter, and she was a baby. And my husband worked night shift, so I was home at night with the kids, or the child at that time. I have two. And I was what I thought having a dream. I had walked into Ashley's nursery, and I was standing looking down at her sleeping. And the room, atmosphere, temperature, and light changed.
Mhm.
I can't explain it in a way that you could feel it. It was a perfect light and a perfect temperature and a perfect calm. Something that I had never in my life experienced ever before. And I turned around, and my Aunt Mabel was standing there. Now, this has been 28 years ago. And I said, Aunt Mabel, I have been so worried about you. Are you okay? And she looked at me, and she was the Aunt Mabel that
Mhm.
I knew and loved and still today love and all the things. And she said, I'm fine, and I want you to stop worrying.
Mhm.
Well, she had, again, she was never married, so she spent time, she lived part time with my great grandfather and would come home to him on the weekends. She was, she worked for Eastern Kentucky University.
Mhm.
So they had a real close relationship. And I said, well, is Papu with you? Because we called him Papu. She said, he's with me. He's fine. I'm fine. Stop worrying.
Yeah.
Now, the kicker to this, so you'll know I'm not crazy. Well, I hosted Thanksgiving that year, and one of my cousins at the time lived in Georgia, and they were in, so they were at my house, and all of us first cousins were sitting around the table, and I said, I gotta tell y'all something. And they all know me, so they just didn't know what to expect. And I said, I had a dream, and I told them what I told you all. And my cousin from Georgia, which we hadn't communicated much because she wasn't living here at the
Yeah.
time, she turned white as a piece of paper.
Mhm.
And she said, I had almost exactly the same dream. Can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
So I had experienced something similar,
Right.
only I did visually see
Mhm.
my Aunt Mabel
Yeah. I love it.
many, many years
Yeah.
before I ever stepped in the shop.
Yeah.
So,
So you would have been too off guard if I said, "Hey."
well, no,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't have probably.
But you needed those messages.
No, I needed
Yeah.
those two.
And the timing.
They came at the time
Mhm.
when I was on the verge of taking a step up
A little bit farther.
a
Yeah.
little bit further in my growth.
Any little last tiny tidbits before I call? Wow, I can't edit
We've
it.
got the word salad going on.
Before I
But
call Carly into
no, but
any.
I want to say right now here in this spot, this is the longest stretch of time that you and I have been able to stay on
I
task
know, right?
in 3 years,
Yeah.
because when we get together,
We just get excited.
we
That's
do.
all.
We
Yeah.
are just we have a ball.
Yeah.
We
It's
enjoy each other's company,
yeah.
and
You can come in.
you can
You're
come
good.
in.
Hey, yeah, go for it. Yeah, you're good.
But my last tidbit is, don't knock it
Yeah.
until you try it.
Okay.
If you don't come in to this shop for anything other than fellowship and to make a new friend
Yeah.
or buy a bar of soap,
Yeah.
come in,
Yeah.
because it's been a pleasure for
Yeah.
me. It really has. I've developed friendships that'll last me forever.
Same. Yeah.
And when I say forever, I mean
Because there's no time.
there's
Right?
no time and space
There's
here.
no time and space.
We're gonna
What this
be
is all
hanging
about.
out somewhere,
Yeah.
sometime, somewhere else.
We'll be bullshitting on the other side. So, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up there. And I'm just going to say that, thank you guys for tuning in again. And we'll see you when we see you.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all. All right, guys. So that wraps up another episode of Without a Candle with Carly and Carla. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.